Speaking of curses though, have you seen this damn kid just creeping around? Hey, and welcome back. It's David again for GDWC, and we're going through the top 10 games for different countries. And check it out, with just 7 episodes under our belt, we've already covered a lot of the globe. Although, now it kind of looks like the next episode should be based maybe in North America or Oceania. And hey, make sure to subscribe to us so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. And drop us a comment, let us know where you're watching from, and I'm picking the next episodes based on those comments. But alright, for this week, and I mean, I've been getting comments since the very beginning for this next episode. But I thought, nah, Finland's too easy. If you don't know, that's where we, GDWC, are established. It's my new adoptive country. But you know, the demand was overwhelming. I just had to do it finally. It's time to do Finland's top 10 GDWC submitted games. And you know, the competition was really stiff. We have so many applicants from Finland. It was near impossible to cut it down just to 10. And hey, I'll put this disclaimer as well that, you know, Finland's gaming circle isn't the biggest, so I do know quite a few developers and publishers, but that doesn't affect my list.
Not a chance.
And of course, this is purely my taste, so if you disagree, just hit me up here on Twitter. If you didn't know, Finland is famous for saunas, indestructible Nokia phones, the Iceman, death metal, and living about half the year in just complete darkness. But hey, perfect reason to establish themselves as an absolute powerhouse when it comes to gaming. Let's take a look now what I'm talking about. All the way from the year 2000, Habbo Hotel, Trials, and the breakthrough Trials HD, Flatout series, the Trine series, Hill Climb Racing, Koskis, A Boozy Beginning. Okay, that's just some self-promotion. I snuck in my game in there, just don't tell my boss. Oceanhorn, Cities Skylines, Baba Is You, Supercell is from Finland, Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, Brawl Stars, Remedy, also from Finland, Max Payne, Alan Wake, Control, another big one, Housemarque, also from Finland, Super Stardust HD, Dead Nation, Returnal, arguably one of the most important games of all time, and I'm serious, I'm not even joking, Snake for Nokia phones in 1977 reinvented how we see gaming. Which leads to the final stop, the immensely globally popular game, Angry Birds. Honestly, there are so many more, but I have to stop there unless I want this video to be like 20 minutes long. But alright, enough about those culture-defining games. I want to show you guys some lesser-known niche indie games. Let's jump in now with the number 10 spot. Okay, I lied. I had to sneak in an honorable mention game. Fat Bear Week, where you play as a bear trying to get as fat and round as possible before winter arrives. So your goal is to try and eat just about everything. The game is short and sweet, and it's free on itch.io. Okay, now we're really starting things off with a hilariously fun Tap House VR. You play as a bartender tending to your dwarf patrons. You get to mix and match recipes to create the perfect drink for your clients. Or don't, I don't know, it's up to you. But these dwarves have a temper, and with enough drinks in them, things might get physical. And they've generously supported the game with a bunch of content updates. Stuff like Ladies Night, or hop aboard the Moscow Express in The Spy Who Shielded Me. And hey, fidget spinners. Our next game is hot off the presses. Genitor Bleeds was released just a month ago in April. This PS1 era low-poly horror game has you looking for help in a seemingly empty arcade venue. You'll encounter this janitor arcade cabinet that has you going through these reality-bending puzzles as you come to grasp with what's actually going on around you. Someone or something is hunting you. Let's keep things retro-inspired with our number 8 spot. Just imagine, what if Dark Souls existed during the late 90s? Well, that's what Team Tyrant and their game Tyrant's Realm have answered. This short Souls-like game has you fighting and exploring around in a dungeon as you find new equipment to take on even tougher enemies. The combat is stiff but deliberate, and it fits perfectly for the genre and era that the game is inspired by. Check it out for yourself, you can play the game now on their itch.io page. In the number 7 spot, we've got the experimental first-person puzzle game, Dreamscript. You play in a world where you control the logic and rules of the game using code. And trust me, the most I can do is hello world, so you don't need any experience with coding. So with just simple code changes, you can increase your character speed, the scale of things, spawn stuff, or even squash bugs. It's up to you really to be creative. Overall, the game kind of feels like a marriage between The Witness and Pony Island. And the game's still in development, but it's set to come out later in 2022. Alright, number 6, baby! Or should I say, Your Majesty? Puddle Knights from Lock Pickle is next. You control these cute little knights with long colored capes that drag behind them. And your goal is to cover up any mud, any speck of dust, so that the nobility can safely reach their goal with their dignity intact. But don't let this charming world fool you. Now, these puzzles aren't for the faint of heart. Sure, I mean, it starts off simple, but they know how to keep things interesting by adding multiple knights, verticality, and not a hint of dirt for my queen. Okay, we're halfway through the list, so let me introduce to you No Reload Heroes by Stupid Games. This twin-stick shooter is absolute chaos. You can pair up with friends up to 4 as you take on hordes and hordes of enemies. But, as the title suggests, there's no need to reload. You just fire at your enemies, and, well, there's a whole collection of weapons that you can use, somewhere around, I think, 70 weapons. And if you can't gather friends in person, you can also play online. Give it a shot now, it's available on both Steam and Nintendo Switch. Next up, Mind Seize from Kamina Dimensions. This was an easy addition for me. I'm an absolute sucker for Metroidvanias. And this 16-bit inspired pixel art game takes place in a sci-fi world where your character is bent on revenge as you travel through 4 different planets and face off against tons of massive bosses. You've got both a sword and gun at your disposal and upgrades that you can pick up all along the way. It sort of gives off hints of Mega Man X once you've got your dash abilities. It's fast and frenetic, and the story does a good job at keeping you engaged all throughout the adventure. And now we're in the top 3. We're going to start things off with Claybook, a sort of puzzle platformer game. Check it out. You and the entire world are actually made of clay. Clay that you can reshape, mold, and do just about whatever you need to complete your goals. At any time, you can reshape yourself from a circle, a square, disc, or tube to get across any environmental challenges. I mean, the tech alone in the game is absolutely stunning. The way you slowly accumulate clay and your shape starts to change color. At times, it feels like a marriage between Super Monkey Ball and Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. I mean, it's easy to see the influences. Speaking of curses though, have you seen this damn kid just creeping around? You know, I'd normally tell you don't look at an eclipse, but our number 2 spot is the exception.
Sculptors and see if this old guy was onto something.
Children of the Eclipse from Nut Farm Games. This isn't the first top-down twin-stick shooter from the list. You know, with No Reload Heroes and all of the Housemarque games, I think I'm ready to declare Finns as the masters of twin-stick shooters. Anyways, Children of the Eclipse has you adventuring as a pair set in the far future utopia world. Both your characters have unique weapon systems that allow for different experiences when it comes to combat and environmental puzzles. Of course, as you can see, the gameplay, visuals, and atmosphere here are standouts, but the characters and killer voice work are what make Children of the Eclipse different from any other in the genre. The game is still in development, but you can make sure to go wishlist it so you don't miss it when it comes out. And finally, my number 1 GDWC game from Finland, Iron Danger from Action Squad Studios. This tactical RPG is set in a steampunk fantasy world influenced by Finnish folklore. The main city you'll visit is Kalevala. Like, come on. Iron Danger has a bunch of twists that you wouldn't expect, but the one that sticks out the most is their combat system, where you actually have control over time. Meaning you can line up attacks, and if the outcome doesn't pan out how you intended, you can reverse time and synchronize actions from your characters to execute the perfect attack. And another thing I'm a sucker for, environmental traps, which are just littered all over the battlefields, making for the perfect sneak attacks against enemies. Iron Danger is a must-play for fans of games like Divinity Original Sin and Baldur's Gate. And I should mention too that the game oozes Finnishness, more than I've seen from pretty much any other game. It's available now on Steam. And so those are my favorite GDWC submitted games from Finland. I want to know which one was your favorite. Drop a comment down below. And I'm so happy to have done the Finland episode. Like I said, that's where we're based and that's my adoptive country, so I have a lot of love for Finland. And with such a small country, it's undeniable the mark that they've left on the gaming industry. So again, thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next episodes. Until next time.